Babe.
Yes, she's doing sign language.
All right, we are trying to get all of our technology. This is Stacey Wallace, and so excited to be coming to you live from my very own home in Bellevue, Washington. Actually, I live in Kirkland now. We made a little shift. The house that we were living in was zero coverage. Zero. Have y'all heard that? I can't do this. I don't have coverage. So it wasn't just zero coverage for Solavei. It was zero coverage for AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint. So it was a beautiful home, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to give up to go up, and that's what we're excited about. So I'm happy to be back in Kirkland, Washington. Today is going to be a fantastic hangout because we've got a special guest with us, David Lewis, who is going to be talking with us a little bit about leveraging third-party support, credibility, and we're really going to dive into that. We're also working right now to get Chadwick Robinson on with us down in San Antonio. He gave a brilliant presentation at one of our social commerce universities about leveraging third-party credibility. And just an incredible day today. I also want to let you know that Thursday, that's tomorrow, you are going to be able to watch a full 30-minute presentation. Could go over just a little bit with David. He is going to be sharing on our Empowering You webinar a full presentation that he did at the Social Commerce University in Dallas, and it is on the power of leveraging events in your area and online. Now, he is someone that has built a phenomenal organization within Solavei, a network. He is an industry expert. He's also an incredible man of God that I love and trust, and just excited to be able to see him bring his wisdom and his excellence to you. One of the great things about David, now he runs a network of almost 2,000 people just in the Dallas-Fort Worth area alone, a massive network there, let alone what's going on nationally. So he has really done a great job of centralizing his efforts through local events, and we certainly want him to share his secret sauce with you tomorrow night. Another little tidbit, if you haven't already registered for Social Commerce University, we're going next to Phoenix on the 17th of August, and then we're going to San Diego on August 24th, and if you're watching this after this has been recorded, don't go register if it's after those dates. This is 2013. If you have to find it cyberspace like in 2018, but we're very excited because we're going city to city, state to state, taking in-depth training to how the top leaders, how we have built these massive organizations. We want to share it with you because every one of us want to hit the 1 million member march this year. We have got a lot of work to do, people, because we are coming up on September. That means September, October, November, December. We have got to hustle like we've never hustled before. We've got to go back to pre-launch hustle so that we can truly see this company engage in that 1 million member march. Now, the beautiful thing about it is, you know, we're on the march no matter what, but I don't know about you. If I know there is a goal and a timeline, or what some people call a deadline, Ziegler would never let me call it a deadline. He'd never let me call it a red light. It was always a green light. It was never the end of the bread. It was always the beginning of the bread. But if it's a timeline, it kind of allows you to have some goals that you can press towards. What David's going to do today, and I'm excited, have we gotten Laura back on with us? Laura, are you?
I'm here.
Ah, she's there. Okay, I know we were.
It was my fault. I thought it was locked up, but it was just on mute. You know.
Well, Laura, as you guys know, is an incredible leader down there, also near Dallas, in Allen, Texas, and the two of these guys came together to put together an incredible social commerce university. Laura, I know you did a lot of the legwork of getting the location and making sure it was on the map there, and that was awesome. And then David, can I just say, there was like 90% of you and your team in the room. It was awesome. I was very, very impressed. The love of the people. What I love about these events is its leaders. Now, neither of you are in each other's networks, but you guys are working together. And so today, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kick it over to you, David. I want to know, how do you leverage third-party validation? Are you talking about people other than yourself, other than Solavei? What do you do in order to build such a massive network? I've got some. What was that? You're muted. Hang on. Let me just see here. Try that. No. See if you can unmute it from your end, David. Try that.
Now it says you muted him.
Oh, I had him. Are you there, David? Are you there now? Tell me you love me.
I'm mute. There we go.
Woohoo! Okay, there we go.
Fantastic.
Lewis, social networker.
Well, let me just express the heartfelt sentiment in the partnership, through the partnership I have with Laura, that you blew it up here in Dallas, and we just were so excited, and the bounce we're getting from that, as a result of that Social Commerce University here in Dallas, we're still feeling today. So I got to thank you and say hats off to you for just exciting opportunity. And of course, I had a chance to also participate in San Antonio, and we really enjoyed that as well. What a show they had down there, huh?
David, can I just say about San Antonio, I had a girlfriend of mine that video everything. You
Really?
got down, my friend. You got some cool moves. That's all I got to say.
No, we can never compete with the boogie for woogie.
Nobody can do the worm like Stacey.
No way. Well, listen, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes just to mention the training objective that we have for today, and that's essentially the importance of continuing to grow our Solavei business and how exciting it is that we have the opportunity to be here where we are and where we're positioned today. But I just want to mention that really the key thing is that you understand and get the right philosophy and use the right techniques to continue to grow your business. And today I want to just talk about giving you the keys for recruiting leaders. How many of you would like to have a Stacey Wallace recruited into your business, or Laura Wells, or Roxana Hanna, or Jose Miranda recruited? And guess what, people? They are still out there waiting for you to introduce Solavei to them. Now, I want to share with you what I think is the most powerful tool we have. One of the techniques that's involved in that tool is the whole process of recruiting up. Recruiting up is essentially finding people that maybe you look up to versus people that maybe look up to you. Or it's the process of people that, rather than just looking lateral, that have achieved some level of success in other organizations and other initiatives and other activities. So it's really important that you understand what I'm going to show you today is what I call a weapon of mass construction. Nice. Yeah. So here we go.
So David, I want to say too, when you're talking about this, one of the things that I love about, first off, and I want people to just stop and take note. This Social Commerce University has helped us do something that I think is very important for those of you who are leaders. Now, if you're watching this hangout and you're just kind of an average consumer, you're checking out Solavei, you're wanting to know what this is all about, and you're looking, for free mobile service. This is an advanced marketing hangout. So we are going to encourage you, go to solavei.com / the username of the person that sent you this, and enjoy that conversation on Solavei, because Solavei is always going to show you, hey, here's how you get a trio, or here's how you get free mobile service. What David, myself, Laura, Roxana Hanna, Gary Craig, what the other leaders are looking to do is a little bit more than that. So think about it with this with Solavei. Very similar to an eBay or Amazon. eBay specifically, let's just say. eBay has their consumers, their users. My son, I am a user of Craigslist, of eBay. I go in and, man, if I need to buy a new end table, I'm going to go on there and see if somebody's got one that I like before I go out and pay retail. I don't want to waste my money. I might, this morning I was realizing I bought too many books for my son's homeschool stuff, so I'm going to go Craigslist or eBay them. That's just a everyday seller. My son, on the other hand, he is what I would call a power seller. He literally goes to bed at night, he's looking through his eBay list, he's looking through his Craigslist list, he's a little 13-year-old entrepreneur. He is in another category. Now, think about it that way. We have our average consumers with Solavei. They're going to get great mobile service at an inexpensive price, and they might share it with a few friends. But then you have your Davids of the world. They are your power sellers. they're the ones that are going out there wanting to make $5, $10, $15, $20,000 a month, and so they're out there performing on a different level. So there's a different conversation we need to have with those people because they're making a career out of it, or maybe it's another stream of income for their family. So today, David, I want you to talk to B group. I mean, really hammer them on what it takes to drive these kind of networks locally and nationally.
Thank you, Stacy, and you're right on target with that, because what we're talking about is I call building, and that is finding leaders that are going to duplicate your leadership or do better to help grow your business. One of the things that differentiates us, like you mentioned, is different from that and enrolling someone for cell phone service. But building is essentially just mastering some key skills. Let me just outline them real quickly. It's mastering the skill of working a prospect list, number one. Number two, making initial contact or piquing the interest of the people that you want to get involved in your business. And often for me, it's just simply getting them to watch a video. Number three is making a follow-up calls and setting appointments to do a three-way call. I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about the importance of that. And then number four is completing the member onboarding process. And I want to mention that as well. We have some outstanding training I know Stacy and others have done, and even the tutorials the companies put together about onboarding. But that's the fourth in the series of steps that we have to implement to get it done. But let me just start with mentioning the rules of engagement when you talk about building. Building, you're often coming in contact with other leaders, perhaps even in other programs that, in fact, are doing the business that we're doing. That is building a network marketing, direct sales, or social commerce industry business. And let me say it's important that you understand the rules of engagement. The rules of engagement are this. Have you ever noticed, for example, at the end of the Civil War, the general that won the war had to surrender to the one who won? And of course, you notice it was general to general. And that's the rule that you must understand. Generals only resign to generals. They only want to speak to generals or someone of equal rank. Three-way calling is the process and the technique to get a third person on the phone that lends additional credibility to you and your Solavei business. Now, I compare and contrast that with, for example, the general who won, Grant, was appointed by the president, Lincoln, but in reality, he was representing and had the full power and authority of the President of the United States. So savvy business people use three-way calling to enhance and grow their business in some ways overnight. Now let me just mention what I think is the problem that three-way calling really addresses. The problem is that we have people, every time we approach someone, every time you see someone, every time you introduce this business to an individual, they are not only judging the business, guess what they're doing? They're judging you. It's just human nature that the prospect, often somebody you know, knows your background, they know you're not wealthy, or they may know that you've done some things well, but you've not achieved a level of income perhaps that they're looking for, or they perceive that you're not an expert in cell phone, wireless, or any of the other areas that we operate right our business. So the question is, what's the problem? Well, we have a gap. We have a credibility gap. How do you fill that credibility gap? Well, it's really important that you understand the weapon of mass construction is the three-way call, which helps you fill that three-way gap. Now, let me just talk about what those gaps are and some evidence to prove that, in fact, they are real. Have you ever had an instance where you've gone out and told somebody something, and then a few days later, it's like they didn't hear you? And then a few days later after that, they came home excited about something they heard. And as you listen to it, you begin to realize that's the exact same thing I just told them. And you want to punch them in the head. Well, in reality, they didn't hear you.
Like my kids.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't hear you, but somehow they went to a third party, and a third party person told them, and they heard it. What's the problem, and what's the difference? Well, it's really important that we understand that that gap is what we're talking about, and a way to fill that credibility gap. And of course, another example is when you've told your husband something, and he doesn't hear it. Next thing you know, he's trying to sell you on it. I mean, what happened? What was the gap that needs to be filled? Well, it's important that you understand how that human nature and putting that into effect is a powerful thing. So let me just go to the key point that I want to make and how simple it is to use effective three-way call.
Uh-oh, I think we lost David.
Did we lose David?
We did.
Okay. Let me
But we got Chad.
It looks like we got Chad. Let me go here and re-invite David and see what happened to him. It looks like when Chad came on, he knocked David off. Isn't that crazy? Google, would you just please get it together? I mean, unbelievable technology, glitches. Even Google has them, guys. Let's see if we can get David back on there. And until then, he is way frozen. So, Laura, why don't you and I talk for just a second about what he just talked about here. First off, he calls it the weapon of mass destruction. You have been amazing at this, actually, because in the times when you were even getting started, and I even remember Dawn Billings. I can't even tell you how many calls I was on with Dawn that she would use me because I was Ryan's sister, because I was one of the first in the system, or the first in the system. She would use all those things that I had that she didn't have in order to gain credibility with people who were honestly just familiar with her. Now, she's a woman of incredible credibility, and people that know her love her. But she is such a smart businesswoman in that she always knew the power of leverage and leveraging other people's positions, other people's skills. You've done that same thing, and it's always worked great for us. It's also why I use other people's stories. You know, I love other people. You know, I think of Carrie Strummel, for example. When I meet somebody who is a stay-at-home mom that is passionate about their children, I mean, I think Carrie Strummel. I mean, here's a woman that's doing Solavei, has a special needs child, and she is all in. I mean, and she lives on a different level. In fact, I'm going to have her and Ashley back here in a couple weeks to be talking about their follow-up program. It's brilliant. It's incredible. They've even created a resource for us. But also, when I think of, especially when I think of my African-American bros, like David and Chadwick, they are not only excellent at what they do, but they're beautiful. I mean, hello, have you guys seen Chad? I mean, I know you're looking at a little square of Chad, but the guy is a young whippersnapper. If I have a young woman that I think would relate, I'm going to go there. If I have somebody that is involved with taxes or an accountant, I'm going to call Juan Williams. You guys are going to hear from him next Thursday. Know who you have around you. They don't have to be in your network. That's why these webinars and videos are important, to tap back into them. There's sometimes that you may be able to, hey, oh my goodness, there was this video of Laura Wells. She's like a top leader in the company. Watch this video. Well, that right there can provide credibility that maybe you can't do for yourself. Laura, how have you used this?
Yeah, and I use it both ways. I mean, and this is something that I've always done, but I actually think that when someone is not in your network, but you've established that collaboration where you can have a peer who's in your business but not necessarily in your network, where neither one of you gain, when that person says yes. Like if I'm helping David talk to somebody, I don't necessarily benefit if that person tells him yes, but it gives him more credibility because I'm somebody who's backing him up. I'm edifying him as a leader. I'm, sharing what he's saying is actually true, and I have no ulterior motives to say that because I don't financially benefit from that. So when you have someone who can back you up, who you can, hold each other accountable to do that, it does. It speaks volumes not only about both of the people involved, that they can collaborate, they're not competing, which really rubs people the wrong way. When there's competition, people can smell it a mile away. That is what MLM is known for, is this catty competitive stuff. The companies and the people who make those companies up, that aren't like that, that more collaborate, they help each other, they edify each other, even when they don't financially gain from each other, that's what makes a company stand out. So it helps the people edify each other, but it also helps the company as a whole when you've got people from different teams that are playing together, because it's that as the tide rises, all ships rise. That is so true and stuff like that. But you know, and I use you. If I need you, I'll call back up. if I'm talking to somebody who's asking tough questions that, quite frankly, I don't know or I don't feel like I'm qualified to answer, I'll call my mentor, my leader. If you know, and Stacey, you do the same thing. If somebody's asking you stuff that you don't necessarily know, you know, say I don't know, but I will work hard to find out. Go get the answer from corporate if you can. Corporate has our back, just like people in the field do. And then likewise, same thing with other leaders who aren't even in your network. Even reaching out to your downline, people who you have brought in. You know, Carrie, yes, she's I brought her in. She's sponsored by me, but she's got experience in a world that I don't have. And so if I'm talking to somebody, just like Stacey said, if I'm talking to somebody who says, I'm busy, I've got 6 kids, you know, I have a special needs child, immediately I'm going to think, I know someone who can edify that person and qualify them to help them understand you can do this, because they're going to listen to somebody like Carrie who's doing it and doing it very successfully more than they're going to listen to me in my little pink office, you know what I mean, who's not really in that world. So it works both up and down. It doesn't matter the level that somebody's on.
That's awesome. Well, oops, let me unmute myself here. It looks to me like we've got our guys back. I see you there, David. We were filling the gap for you. We were you know, going at it Solavei style.
Yeah,
but we want to hear back from you. I'm trying to take notes for people who are visual. I'm just going to keep taking notes, so don't mind if you guys have to watch the top of my head here. David, you were giving us some great stuff. The last thing you were talking about is filling the credibility gap with the 3-way call. Why don't you take it from there?
Great, Stacey, and I apologize for whatever happened with that, getting lost. But I just wanted to mention.
Yourself?
He's unmuted. I can hear him.
You can hear him?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
can you hear me okay now, Stacey?
That's fine.
Okay, great. I just wanted to mention a couple of benefits, additional benefits of 3-way call, because again, I think it is the true weapon of mass construction when it comes to building a team or organization of people. And that is, 3-way calls show your business in the very best light. Now, most people who get involved or who have been involved in some other leadership organization, perhaps even in a leadership position in other organizations, were told when they get involved that they're going to have lots of help and support. Here you are now sitting in a position where that person is saying, on the 3-way call, you've been able to connect with the top money earner or a leader in your area. That's demonstrating and showing our business in the very best light, because it's showing that you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. Another thing that 3-way calls actually does for us, and this is a key point, it provides validation of you as a viable leader in your own right. The fact that you can get another leader on the phone with that person to begin to explain. It shows that the money is real. It shows that the service is real and works. It shows that you are a leader amongst leaders in your particular industry. Now, I want to just, Stacey, talk for just a minute about the comparison between a 3-way call and a traditional onboarding process. In most corporations and businesses, there's an onboarding process. That is the hiring process that people go through to bring new talent onto their team. Typically, it's a job seeker who goes out and looks for an opportunity. He sees something that piques his interest. He submits an application to a recruiter, person number 2. The recruiter then schedules the interview with the manager, person number 3. The manager then conducts a telephone interview with the prospect, talking about their talents, interests, and abilities, and sharing what we're looking for in the person that we want involved in this business. The third, what happens next, the manager then says, I want to meet you, and invites them in for an appointment. Then that person gets to meet the team, and the recruiter and the manager says, you're hired for the position, when can you start? And he hands them off to the recruiter to do the onboarding or paperwork. Now, I want to compare that to what we do in our business in the onboarding process. This is important in terms of how we would use and incorporate three-way calling. The prospect's interest is peaked, number one, and he's invited to watch a Solavei video, which I think are outstanding. The recruiter, that's you, the person that's recruiting, invites the prospect to a three-way call with the leader. The three-way call is conducted, and the leader invites the person to come meet them at the business opportunity meeting, where you get to meet the same team, the rest of the team members. The leader then invites the person to join our business or join your business, and in turn hands the person back to you to complete the onboarding process. You see the similarities? Well, here's the notes and the key points that you want to take away from that. Number one, the person who's building the business is the recruiter. They're responsible for the first peak in interest activity, and they're responsible for the onboarding process at the end. The second thing that happens after the person's interest is peaked and the three-way call appointment is set is that that person is the one who then introduces the hiring manager, and of course that's the process of edification. The team, of course, is where the business opportunity is happening or where the webinar is, where they can see the energy and excitement of a team that they're being invited to join. And then finally, the recruiter, the person who initiated this whole process, is responsible for the onboarding process and getting that individual enrolled. You can see the very fine comparisons that exist between these and how important it is. But the last thing I want to just share with you is how powerful three-way callings can be to help you rapidly grow your business. Number one, they provide a training opportunity. While doing the three-way call, I'm actually sitting and allowing my person to hear how to present this business. Think about it. They've just got involved. They put me on the three-way call with the leader. And by the way, the point at which they said, yes, I'm in, and they get enrolled, it's about them, but it's no longer about them. It's about who they know and who they can get me on the phone with as a leader of the people that they know to expose Solavei to. And again, I'm encouraging them to recruit up. And so three-way calling is a training process where they get to hear the explanation of how to do this business. Three-way calling has nothing to do with the information or who's the best provider of the information. It's about positioning somebody as a general to be able to talk to another general, someone in equal or greater position. These are just powerful tools that are very much a part of the process. When used effectively, can tremendously impact, number one, your ability to recruit up. Number two, ability to recruit leaders. And I've had instances where 7 levels down, someone told me that they had made contact and were aware of a leader, and that leader was interested in looking at Solavei. They were going to come Tuesday night. I said, no, get them on a three-way call today. We signed the person up the next day, and now over in Fort Worth, that person is doing their own meetings. That's the kind of leader that we're looking for and the kind of attention we give to help build.
That is awesome, David. And, you know, Laura, you were alluding a minute ago to some of those same points. I tried to keep up. It took me just a minute before I could actually catch up to you with the sound. So I missed a few of those points, but guys, hopefully that helps a little bit. One of the things that I want to do, I want to bounce over to Chadwick. Chad, you did an absolute amazing job there in San Antonio of talking about this topic, third-party validation, leveraging third-party credibility. And I would love for you to take the next few minutes and share some of those topics, some of those tips with the folks here. And then what I'm going to do is make sure that we bring you back for a Thursday night coming up, and we would love to see your entire slide deck that you used for that particular session, because it was phenomenal. These Social Commerce University events, you guys can register at empoweredliving.biz/university. And you can see that we've got Phoenix and San Diego still coming up. Well, Chad, if you will just take it, I want to hear from you, and what is, you know, what are some things you can share with us today that are going to help the folks really lock into how to utilize third-party credibility?
Absolutely. Can y'all hear me nice and clear?
We can. Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good.
Oh, now we can't. Stacy muted you. There you go.
It's so weird. I cannot hear him. So
Hold
I'm
on.
going to have to let you guys fly without notes on this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can you
you're
hear
good,
me
Chad.
now? I think I unmuted myself, right?
You're good. We can hear you.
Okay, good, good, good. Well, thank you, Stacy, for allowing me to share the platform with you tonight, and also it's an honor to actually be on the platform as well with you, Laura. And I'm excited to talk to the people a little bit about, the power of the third-party validation. But before we get started on the third-party validation, I really want to emphasize how important it is. When I talk about the baseball diamond, and I know I talked about this a little bit in San Antonio, I talked about base one, base two, and then base three being, the power three-way call. But I want to really emphasize how important base one and base two is, because base one and base two sets up the power three-way call. Which meaning if you don't take a prospect through first base or second base, and you just put them on a power three-way call, you're going to get a watered down substance. Because there are some things that you want to do that's going to lead up to that power three-way call. Okay. Number one, you want to make sure that you're edifying whoever it is that you're going to be doing the power three-way call. So that's what the other two bases is for, is to pique interest, right? You're going to pique their interest on first base, get them over to some information, but in the meanwhile, while they're getting, while you're pointing them to that information, you want to start the process of edifying your upline. So they're viewing the information, but yet you're dropping some nuggets about your upline that's working with you in your local area. Very, very important. Once you get them over to your website, you show them the website, you're still in the process of edifying your upline. That way they're hearing the information, they're catching the golden nuggets of you edifying someone bigger and better than you. That way, if it causes for you to have to do a three-way call, now you've already built the credibility up for the person that you're going to highlight on that three-way call. So now here, like maybe your prospect is not ready to go in the deal. Sometimes you don't need a three-way call. So I want to make sure that some people understand. Sometimes you do not need a three-way call. Sometimes you can bring them to first base, to second base, and they're ready to go. You don't need a three-way call. But sometimes you need that three-way call because maybe, like he said, it's a leader that wants to connect with a higher position leader to feel comfortable to make an educated business decision to join your team. So that three-way call, I want you to understand this. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's very, very important to know that. On that three-way call, you have to understand that the three-way call is not about you, not about me if I'm your upline, it's not about Stacy if she's your upline, it's not about Laura, it's about the prospect. It's setting the platform up to create an environment for the prospect to feel comfortable, like, okay, I feel confident about this. I feel like I'm going to get support. I feel like I'm around some experts. Very, very important. Okay, I've seen some three-way calls, and I want to make sure everyone understands it's a big difference between a three-way call and a power three-way call. I do not recommend three-way calls. They're watered-down substances, okay? I recommend power three-way calls. If the power three-way call is done right, what'll end up happening is you'll find a higher close conversion, ratio, because you've done all the bases correctly. So this is how a power three-way call works for me. This is how I train my team. This is what I tell my team to do. Okay. If Stacy Wallace was my upline, okay, and I had a prospect, maybe I showed him some videos, I showed him my website. He likes all the information he's seen, right? But he's not really ready to pull the trigger. Then I have to load up my third base. So I say, hey, listen, based on what you've seen, I know you're really interested. But listen, if you're really serious, I have someone that is an expert in this field, okay? An expert. They're helping me launch in my local area, and they're the reason why I'm getting the desired results I'm getting right now. Now, if you're serious, and I normally don't do this, but if you're serious, there's a woman by the name of Stacy Wallace. She's the #1 income earner in the company, okay? She told me to go out and find 3 key leaders in this area to speak to. And if you're serious, and I think that you have the potential to do some very, very great things, is the only reason why I'm even recommending this, but I can see, if I can get her on the line with you. See, that right there is so, so, so important. And the thing is that we know that only 20% of the people that's listening to this is actually going to do it, right? 8% of the people that's listening is not going to do that part right there. They're going to bypass that part, and they're just going to call their upline and say, hey, I got somebody I want you to talk to. They're on the phone. Hey, so-and-so, this is so-and-so. Talk to them. And your prospect is going to feel like, this is not, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable with this. I don't feel like I'm going to win. I don't feel like there's someone really going to lead me to success, lead me to victory. So the wording is very important. You want to use a key word I always call posture. Posture is so, so, so important. I was just up earlier today, and I was watching Donald Trump, and it's just amazing to see what type of posture he has. His posture is like through the roof, right? It doesn't even matter what he's talking about, but he just has posture. He can just talk about his hair, but if you think his hair was worth $1 million if he shaved it off and just sell it to you, because the way he talks about it, just the way he postures himself. It's very, very, very important to start practicing posture. Remember, I want everyone that's looking at this video to understand that people don't say no to the business, they say no to you. I'm going to say it again. People do not say no to the business, they say no to you. So if you're the individual right now, even though we have 250,000 people in Solavei, and you're the person that's saying no one wants to be a part of Solavei, then guess what? That means they don't want to be a part of your business. It's not that they don't want to be a part of Solavei, they just don't want to be a part of your business because you have not presented yourself as a leader. Okay? And that's okay. You can change that, but it's going to take a little bit of work, a little bit of effort, a little bit of self-development. Some of these training tools we're giving you, and there's a lot of people out there not using the third-party validation. It gives you all the credibility in the world. And let me cut through some of the fat here for some of the people that might be listening like, well, I can't call Stacey Wallace. Well, I can't call Laura Wells. I don't even know Laura Wells. I can't call you, Mr. Robinson. I don't even know you. I was sponsored by someone, and they're not even a social thousandaire. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with the rank of the person. It has to do with the posture of the person. What you want to do is, if you want to get with your upline, maybe your upline only has, maybe he only has a free cell phone bill, right? Maybe he only has 15 people in his network. And maybe you only have 3 people in your network. Well, let me tell you how I got to social media, the type of thing I would say if I was in your position. If I only had 3 people in my network, but I had an upline who had 15 people in his network. See, my edification for him is going to make him sound like he's a social executive. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to edify him to the best of my ability. What I'm going to say is, hey, I'm working with someone right now whose organization is 5 times bigger than mine. He's helping me right now launch in my local area. This guy is going to be absolutely incredible. He's doing some incredible things. I mean, like I said, his organization is 5 times bigger than mine. He's an expert in the field, and I know that he can help you, develop the skill set that you need for you to be successful in your business. Now, see, when they listen to that, they don't know how big your organization is. They don't know how big his organization is. All they know is that his organization is 5 times bigger than your organization. So you have to take the time to practice what you say and how you say it. You have to become a great edifier. That's one of the things that I've learned in this field, home-based business. You have to know how to edify people. You have to know how to edify people. If you don't have an upline, that means you need to get with someone else that's parallel. Maybe you just got sponsored by someone, you just clicked on the website link, and you joined. And maybe they dropped out, right? Maybe you're in a neutral position. Well, what you do is you get on Facebook, you get on Solavei's page, you make friends with other leaders like myself, Laura, Stacey, right? You make yourself known, okay? And then you start to use what they call, you start using cross-line members. That means they might not be in your downline, but it's still effective to use someone else in Solavei. Hey, I need you to do me a favor, man. I've been trying to, get this prospect in the deal, but I don't have anyone to do three-way calls with. I don't have a team. I don't have a sponsor right now, and I just need some help. And us together as Solavei, as a team, we're willing to help you. There are several people out there that's willing to help. Matter of fact, they might need your help. Right? You might say, hey, can you do a three-way call with me, man? I've seen you on Facebook. I've seen you on YouTube. You look pretty sharp. Do you mind talking to people today? And then, he might say, yeah, hey, I might need to use you. Right? I might need to use you on a conference call or something just to give your small testimony, because your testimony can help me. And that's what you want to do. You want to start connecting. You want to become social. This business, like we say, you got to get in. You have to get social. You have to get free. Okay? Get social with other Solavei members, and you'll see things start to pan out for you. But the power three-way call, very, very important. Stacey, is there any questions, anything you want to add in there? If you can hear Laura Wells.
Laura, go ahead. Why don't you add? Go ahead and add your part. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm having obvious technical difficulties. I don't know if it's the bandwidth here or what, but I can't see what you guys are seeing, and I'm only able to hear through Laura's computer, so I'm barely hearing. But what I do know is you probably talked about all of the different bases and how three-way calling. I went back and I was just looking at your slide deck of what you shared at the event was phenomenal. I mean, I know people are like bamming, screen sharing right now this shot, if y'all can see it. Laura, can y'all see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you see it in full screen?
No, we see the edited version of yours.
You see the edited version. I don't know why, but why all this is playing out like this. But anyhow, I'm going to just show you. This is the PowerPoint presentation I created for Social Commerce University. And when Chadwick was telling me how he wanted to use the analogy of running the bases, it really made sense. If you think about this, and hopefully you guys can see this to some degree. Let me go down here and see if I can even pull it up to where you guys can see it. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see it up a little bigger. But if you look at where he said you're gonna bedazzle them, you're gonna add a little sauce, something special to them by sending them a video through Outreach Manager. Then you're gonna do your follow-up, whatever that happens to be. ShareSolavei.com. Maybe it's picking up the phone. Maybe it's chatting with them on Facebook. Then you're gonna make contact with them. You want to make sure that all along that way, as it relates to third-party validation, that you don't want to just boom, say, hey, I'm going to introduce you to somebody making 20 grand a month. That's so salesy. Instead, throughout the process, you're creating the leverage for that third-party credibility, and want to make sure that when it comes to that third base, I mean, you're looking, that third-party person, like David said, you're looking to use that person to help you close the deal. And so bringing that all the way back around, of course, home plate is enrollment, when you get them to enroll. Laura, take us to what you see here with regards to being able to take this information that we've heard from these guys, phenomenal. And what is your take from it as you see it in your network?
Yeah, and I actually have some questions too from our peeps on the group. So I want to make sure we leave time for those at the end. But and here's the deal. And I've been in this industry for a long time. I mean, 15 years. And Stacey, I know you have too, and we all have. And everything you're going to hear. I mean, everything you hear from Chad and David and Stacey or me or someone else down the street. You guys, this isn't a one-size-fits-all. And so with that same note, one script won't fit all. One style won't fit all. One method, one tactic, one stream of conversation won't fit everybody. So, a three-way call may work really well for someone who's interested, who would resonate with that. On the same token, I've been in this industry for so long, I know when someone's using someone to try and get me, and that, to me, that would turn me off, because that's me. So I think that it's really important for people who listen to these types of trainings, before you run off and say, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I need to do, and then you try and put every single prospect that you have in that box, that won't work well for you either. So it's really important to keep the horizon open a little bit. So take what Chad's saying, take what David's saying, take a style from Stacy, take a style from me or from your sponsor or whoever. Have all of those things, file it away, and put it in your toolbox. Because, and I'm totally going to use a fishing analogy right now, the same type of bait won't work for every single fish out there. Okay? And I don't fish, but even I know that. And so it's really important to have all these things. I don't fish. One color of nail polish doesn't work for every girl. Okay? So here's what I'm saying. It is powered by relationships. Know who you're talking to before you put that person in a box that says, I'm going to get you on the phone and I'm going to talk to you about this leader who's earning 20 grand, when maybe that's not the person you're talking to, and that's going to make them run for the hills. So file those away. Put them in the back of your mind that those are awesome resources that work for the people who it resonates with. There are definitely some times, and Stacy can say, I've called her and I've told her before, I'm pulling out the big guns. I need what she has because I've talked to this person long enough where I know they need what Stacy has. But then a lot of times I'm that person. For a lot of people, I'm that person for them. So just know who you're talking to so that you can put them in the right progress line, I guess, is my biggest thing.
Okay, so awesome, because that brings a little bit of balance to this, because honestly, one of the great savvy qualities about these two guys, and you can hear it even in the languaging, which is what I love, is they're power sellers. I mean, they have the terminology of sales. They talk about recruiting. They are totally unashamed of talking about networking and terms that, like Laura's saying, there are a lot of people that would be like, ugh, those words freak me out. And that's important to know who are you talking to. Now, clearly, it's working for David. He's got a huge organization. So he's found his sweet spot, that sweet spot on the tennis racket. I'm taking tennis lessons with my son, and, man, it makes a difference where you hit that ball. And that's the way it is with every single person you're talking to. I can't even imagine you, Laura, and the people that you associate with and the brand you've created. I can't even imagine you coming after somebody and saying, okay, well, I want to talk to you about Stacy Wallace because she's making $20,000 plus a month, and I can't even imagine you saying that. But you know why? Chadwick, he rocks that conversation. He's like, I'm going to introduce you to the Queen of Diamonds. She's #1 in the company. And honestly, by the time I get on the phone with Chadwick, I'm like, I am She-Ra, Princess Warrior. And you know what? It's working for him. And it's cool because that is what is great. If you could take the basic, what Chadwick just said, the basic baseball principle, and then put your je ne sais quoi, put your secret sauce in there, find your sweet spot with it. You know you're going to do 3 things. You're going to share something simple, probably through Outreach Manager. You're going to follow up as base 2. Then you're going to come over and you're going to do some kind of connection point, which could be third-party credibility, could be Facebook, whatever it is for you, and then you're going to bring them on home. And it really is that simple. Boom, boom, boom. It's 1, 2, 3, home. 1, 2, and you just do that over and the more you do it, the more simple it becomes. Chadwick, one of the things I love, when we did the push-pull-give together, you were in that. And one of the things I absolutely loved is every time I would be on with you guys, and every time I'd watch you post on Facebook, your languaging on Facebook, even I watch your cover photos, I watch your posts, I stalk you guys. When I go to your page, I see show me the money. That's what I see, because I think and I believe you are in a demographic of friends and connections that is a language that's working for you. When I go to Laura, oh Lord, I see hearts and I see sunglasses and I see her and her friends, but it's working for her. And so the point I want to make is 3 distinct, and then I go to David, and David is a mature, effective salesman. He is good. He can sell snow to the Eskimos, but he's driven by the heart. So I think we're all salesmen and women. I mean, if you're married or if you've ever had a girlfriend, then you've had to sell yourself to some degree. But David has just become very proficient in that and very mature in that. You guys know lately I've been talking a lot about the pursuit of happiness. And it's amazing when I'm getting these private messages from folks and I'm referring them to them. I'm referring them to that movie for many different reasons. Sometimes it's just get over it. Sometimes it's you've only called 7 people and you're quitting. And I'm like, go watch Pursuit of Happiness. Some of them, it's just that they're in that place where they're in the bathroom, feeling alone, feeling like, oh my God, I've lost everything. What am I going to do? And now they've got Solavei, and I'm like, this is a chance for you to change your stars. Go watch Pursuit of Happiness. Some of them are like the little boy in Pursuit of Happiness, where the father has said, you know, don't dream too big. You know, don't go out there and believe you're going to be a basketball. You're probably never going to be better than average. And then Will Smith catches himself when he sees the defeat in the little boy's heart, and he says, I'm sorry, man. Don't ever let someone steal your dream. Don't let another person's opinion of you become your reality. And so I encourage you, find yourself in these type of hangouts. I am so grateful. I see that David has had to pop off there, but Chadwick, I just am so grateful for you and grateful for the leadership that you provide. Thank you for sharing your style with Empowered Living Network. I love it. I don't want to change a thing about it. I want you to flow in your greatness because you are doing such an amazing job with it. So thank you so much for being. Anything you want to say to folks before we head out?
Yeah, you know, before we head out, ladies and gentlemen, well, I know Laura has some questions. I know she had some questions, so I don't know if we want to answer those questions before.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that.
Yeah, okay, so actually just a couple of them, and I thought this was excellent for Chad, actually, because I want to know also. So 2 questions for Chad. First of all, well, here's one I can take personally, because somebody asked, what if my upline is too busy? What if the person who sponsored me is at the top of the company and very busy? And I can personally answer that, where, you know, your sponsor brought you in because they care somewhat about you. And so that person should never be too busy, even at the very top of the, I mean, Stacey Wallace is the #1. She's got way too many people in her network, but she's never too busy to take a call. But if that person is too busy or maybe they're not engaged anymore, you know, like David said and Chad said, reach out, crossline. We're present. The whole reason, you guys, that empoweredliving.biz is there is for you to use it to edify and enhance what you already have, but to also fill the gaps just in case your person is missing. So you don't have to worry about if somebody's too busy. There's always people out there that will help you. But Chad, I thought this one was really good. Rachel Murad in our group asked, how do you set up an appointment with someone for a 3-way call if it sounds like they don't really want to come in, if they're kind of not interested?
What I do with those people is I drop them where they are and I move forward with the new prospect. I don't waste time with people that's not interested. I don't try to, you know, I can't wake up a dead dog. If they're not interested, you have to check their temperature. If they're not interested, I'm on to the next, because I could put my time somewhere else. So I would say if you're trying to take a prospect to Batters Up and you can't get them to watch a video, you can't get them to get on a call or a webinar, not interested, the best thing I do is I put them in the holding tank. I just sit them there and let them lay dormant if they're on my Facebook page, and then I use that as inspiration to go out there and work harder, because I take that as a sign as you're not saying no to the business, you're saying no to me. So that means that I'm not a strong enough leader.
You are amazing. Can I just stop in just a second? I'm about to explode over here. That is totally, right there, that is pursuit of happiness. That's the difference. That guy didn't look at numbers. He didn't look at rejection. He was looking at how can I make more calls a day? How can I, you know, he even counted, I decided that I would stop hanging up the phone because that was an extra 3 seconds in my day, so I would just push the button and go. He was, I mean, guys, this is so important what Chadwick is saying. You cannot get hung up in the minor leagues if you want to play major leagues. You've got to think like a leader. You've got, and again, it's not about not being relational. Sometimes relationship means give them some space. Drop the seed and let it germinate and move on, because you've got a big garden of crop to plant. And I don't know about you, but I don't like these little square box, modern, I don't know, pseudo gardens that people are creating in their backyard of a city slicker house. I'm looking for a ranch right now, and I'm telling you, I want a 1-acre garden. I want to be able to plant lots of seed. I want to teach my kids harvest. That's the way you need to play in life. You need to stop planting this little, I'm going to go try to talk to 3 or 4 people. Now, that doesn't mean go out and blast out a whole bunch of emails. But what Chadwick is saying is, you know what, be willing to pick up the phone and go to the next person. Put them in a nice, I love you, I respect you holding tank, relational holding tank. Connect with them on Facebook. But don't be over there just always talking about Solavei. Have them in the, I'm just going to talk to them about their family for a while. I'm going to have them in the relationship holding tank. And then go back to pounding your business just like he's saying. And that is going to make a world of difference to your psychology. Chadwick, that is awesome.
I think what Chadwick is saying too, and again, it's, you know, you can have all of these things in your toolbox. You can have the 3-way calls. You can have your power conversations with a higher level and all that kind of stuff. But again, what Chadwick is saying is it is based on relationships, because he is going to know if that person isn't ready or not interested enough to use his valuable time and the sponsor's valuable time to talk to that person. He has connected with that person, talked with that person, engaged with that person enough to know that, and to know when now is not the right time. And it actually helps when you can actually come back to someone and say, you know what, I love you, let's go out to coffee or something and not talk about this anymore until you're ready. I'll be here when you're ready. Solavei will be around when you're ready, but let's attack this, you know, later on. And I think that that's really important. Relationships and strategy definitely can always work together, and they're more powerful when they do, just like Chadwick is saying.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Well, David, do we have another question first off, Laura, that we want to answer before we go on to our final close?
Somebody's just asking a question. What if my sponsor is too busy or not engaged? That was kind of the same question that we attacked on the first one. So, but that's it. That was all the questions that we got.
Yeah, and I would say too, guys, not every, you know, I remember when we were building Solavei in the early days, and there was always this competition. It was awesome, because you guys know I drive on competition. So there would be these guys that would get on our power calls with the company, and they'd be like, well, I am doing all of this over here. Well, like Stacy, she's full-time. Well, I used to have an all over here too. I was Senior Vice President of Corporation. I just went all in with Solavei. I don't suggest people doing that because it's a high level of risk. But one of the things that is really cool is even if you're upline, and you could be 45,000 degrees away from anyone that is even successful, right? Be like a salmon. Swim upstream. You know, what's brilliant about a salmon is they don't just stay where they're at and think, oh, I'm just going to lay my eggs here. They go where the fertile water is. You've got to get upstream so that you can reproduce what you want to reproduce. You may not want to reproduce anything in your network. You may be like, ugh, I don't like where I'm at. Okay. You know what? You may be like, Stacy is like too much of a freak, and I want somebody a little more calm. Then you know what? You may want to swim over and say, hey, Dave, you don't have to change businesses. You don't have to disengage where you're at in the network and go sign up under someone else. In fact, that would be crazy. What you want to do is learn how to create relationships throughout the network. You guys will follow what I'm doing all throughout Solavei. I don't care whose network you're in. I don't care if you are in my network or somebody else's network. I am building a big, gigantic ocean of brilliance through the Social Commerce University. And what you guys are going to see coming up, in the next webinars, in the Thursday night trainings, in our hangouts like today, you are going to see unbelievable talent. Why is that? I'm getting out of my group. I love my group. I love my network. But there's so much outside of my network to offer the world of Solavei. You need to do the same thing. Get on these webinars. You might identify with somebody and go, wow, I like the word Queen of Diamonds. And honestly, I want some people to show me the money. Connect with Chadwick. Connect with his team. Find out if he's got any hangouts going on. Or I promise you, all these leaders have special calls going on. Tap in and get what you need so that you can be successful. In the process of doing that, you're going to meet some great leaders that you can do three-way calls with. David, bring it home for us before we sign out.
We can't hear you.
David,
We can't hear you, David.
can you hear him, Laura?
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm having such technical difficulty today. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you're
All
good.
right, great. Well, I just wanted to just cover a couple of points that Laura said, and as well as Chad, because I think it's really important that people understand that we are presenting this three-way call strategy as a tool of mass construction. That is, if you are looking to build leaders and you need that special tool to move you to the next level, three-way calls have the potential to serve that function and adding additional credibility to you as you build. One of the things that Laura pointed out, and I want to touch base on, is some of the things that three-way calls are not. Three-way calls are not you making a list of people that you know and handing it off to a leader to say, make calls for me. Three-way calls are also not a place where you try to show how smart you are or how much you know. And of course, ultimately, you have a vital role to play in the process. Again, I mentioned the importance of piquing interest. For example, I won't do a three-way call with someone who's not seen some aspect of Solavei, whether it's a video that they've watched or a webinar that they participated on. Before a three-way call can happen, they have to have had some prior exposure. And then lastly,
Oh no! Right before he gave us the last one.
Did he drop off?
Yeah, he's frozen.
Well, I know we're almost about closed out on this. So before we close out, I want to give you guys a great nugget, okay? A great nugget to take with you, okay? And this is for anyone that's right now. Maybe you haven't discovered your reason why. See, that I want you to understand, if you want to be successful in Solavei, you have to have a reason why you want to be successful. So this golden nugget for you to discover your why. And in order for you to do that, you got to concentrate right here. You got to figure out what's going on right here and control your thoughts, okay? Because your brain functions off two things. It functions off your memory and it functions off your imagination. And if you don't feed yourself your imagination, if you don't sell yourself on your dreams, then you'll keep continuing to buy your past and present situation, and you won't have any money left over to purchase your future. So remember, your brain functions off two things, your memory and your imagination. It either replays the past or it pre-plays your future. And what you have to do is learn how to pre-plan where it is you're going to be later on in life through personal self-development. So I encourage everyone to make sure that you're listening to something motivational for at least 15 minutes a day when you first wake up. Make sure you're at least reading a chapter or two of something motivational or inspiring every single day, and concentrate on building yourself up to where you can start to become more attracted. People can be more attracted to you, and that's the key. You have to have people attracted to you. So take that golden nugget, and like we always say, we won't see you at the top. We'll see you over the top because you deserve to win.
I love it. You know what? And somebody asked me yesterday, while we wait for these guys to get back, I thought it kind of goes along with what we're talking about. Somebody asked me yesterday, how do you decide when you're prospecting? How do you put them in a box? Like, do you qualify them? Do you interview them? Do you decide, if this person is somebody that you want to work with, if you think they're going to be really good or not? How do you decide who to invest your time in? And I thought that was a great question. And the way that I answered that, and I'm sure it's different for other people, but the way I answered that is that I will let anybody come in. If they come to me and they're interested, I will enroll anyone. And it's not from a sense of desperation. It's not for a sense of got to collect all these people. The reason is because I've had people join our network who I personally, if I were the type that was going to prejudge somebody, that I would have pinned them as someone who probably wouldn't do very much. Just because of their circumstances. They're too busy, they've got 6 kids, they've got a kid with special needs, whatever these reasons are. If I were the type of person who would have prejudged that person, I would have said, that person probably just wants a cheaper cell phone bill, I'll enroll them, but I won't really pay a whole lot of attention to them, or anything like that. Then on the other hand, I've had people come in who's like, I can put in 20,000 people, I know everybody, I've got 500,000 people on my email list, and all this kind of stuff. And if I were the type of person that would prejudge, I would think I just caught a whale. And I would show that person extra attention and all of that. And so the way I answered that person is that I let everybody come into my space. I train everybody the same. I let them guide me of what they need the most, depending on what I see them doing. Because I've had people who are those big whales do nothing. And then I've had people who they've got 6 kids or got kids with special needs, and they're my top leaders. They're knocking my socks off, like Carrie Strimmel. I mean, seriously, this girl is knocking my socks off. I've got Barbara Warren. She's active duty and in the military. She's got a whole bunch of other stuff going on, and she's one of my top leaders right now. So don't prejudge people. Don't put people in a box. Let people break out of their own box and show you what they're made of. And I think that's kind of what you're saying too, Chadwick, is you've got to let people, you've got to go where your people are leading you and feed them what they want to be fed at the time that they're the most hungry.
I think that's awesome, Laura. I could not hear what Chadwick was saying, unfortunately, but what I do know is that the leaders, the 4 of us are just 4 of many leaders who are passionately all in. I'm glad. I know that you guys have all made the commitment for the 120 mentality. That we're not here just to create a few thousand dare accounts. We're here to scale the compensation plan, to gain stock options in the company, which we believe is the bigger picture here of a multi-billion-dollar potential company that's offering us a piece of the pie. All I'll say is Microsoft. To have been a part of that today would be the difference between making an income and having wealth. And I happen to know some folks who were in part of those days. Same with Amazon. We are at that stage right now with Solavei. You are at that stage with Solavei. I encourage you, think bigger. Utilize this opportunity, all these kind of webinars and that, to get out of your box, to not stop with a few no's, to figure out what you're doing wrong. Because here's the deal, it's working. People are coming in. Solavei's growing, so it's working. It's not that Solavei's broken. It's just that we got to find the sweet spot of your racket, remember? And when we find the sweet spot of your swing and your stroke, you are going to find that it does pick up. And like Laura said, making sure that you don't prejudge folks. That's really important. We always have heard, how devastating it can be to prejudge. My mother prejudged my husband when we were dating. Honestly, he was a musclehead. He was a bodybuilder, and he was huge. He was like 48 shoulders, 32 waist, all natural bodybuilder, and going out for the Mr. Oklahoma contest. And he came over and made a really big mistake. He wasn't real good with his communication at that time. And he came over, and my mom had made this full lasagna spread to meet him for the first time. And he came and brought his Tupperware bowl of plain chicken and plain rice because he was so centered on his workouts. And he showed up and he put it on his plate. And my mom was like, "What's that?" And she walked in the kitchen. She said, "Stacy, come here." And she goes, "I don't want him ever coming back to my dinner and bringing his own food again." And immediately, because there was a bad first impression, she prejudged him as a good candidate for the man of my dreams. And it was a rocky road for us. We went through months without dating, but it was actually a beautiful thing. I thank God that we didn't prejudge, because today he is the best, most unbelievably godly man and perfect balance to my whack mentality that I could ever have. And so think of it in your business, think of it in your life. How are you prejudging people, and what can you do instead of looking at how you're different than everyone else? Begin to bring the world into your aquarium. Begin to bring more friends into your aquarium. It gives you the opportunity for better conference calls. Give the opportunity for more three-way credibility. Gives you the opportunity just to enjoy life more. I am so grateful. I'm so thankful for our guests today, Chadwick Robinson and David Lewis, Laura Wells. You guys are amazing. Every single week you bring your brilliance here, and we're so very grateful for what you're doing. I know this Thursday, again, let me remind you, David Lewis is going to be sharing the power of what he's done down there in Texas to build such a huge local group through the power of leveraging events. We've got an incredible slide deck prepared for that. So make sure you tap in this Thursday, which is tomorrow, at 8 p.m. Central, and tap in your own time zone there as well. And then next week, we're going to have some really great guests. We're going to hear from our leaderboard rock stars that are just crushing it right now, putting in trio after trio. You look at the leaderboards, it's like, oh, I've got 7 trios since it started. What? And so those folks are just blowing it out. I want to know what they're doing, and I know you do too. And the next Thursday, we are going to have what I believe is going to be a financially beneficial conversation for you, and that is Juan Williams is going to be talking about tax benefits, even if you're not making money yet with Solavei, how you can utilize Solavei to put money back into your pocket just as a result of the tax benefits you should be taking advantage of. So be back with us tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central. Laura, David, Chadwick, thank you so much. Remember, everyone, now is the time. This is the place, and you are the one to start the revolution. My name is Stacey Wallace, and on behalf of all my friends here and those that are a part of the network of Solavei, we're believing the best for you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.